Yo, 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 yo. What's goody? What's poppin'? What's the dilly? T Dub T. We in the building. Shout out to the winning team, my family, LDBC, Lions Den Boxing Community. Yo, we in a spot. Shout out to my homie Just Do. I love you, my G. Southern T, Yoda Wise, Kui, Ashley's Corner, G5. You know what I mean? Bars. But yo, shout out to the family, son. AB, DP Rocker, Clarence McLean, No Duck Zone podcast. Yeah, I mean, we coming up, we on the rise. Shout out to Blue Blood with everything he got going with BLK Prime. You know what I mean, for the time being. You know what I mean, brothers coming up. You know what I mean? But yo, I just want to make a little quick video um about the main event last night. Let's get into it. My homie Frank Martin. Yo, honestly, going into the fight last night, I had it 50-50. Um, But with that being said, I still had Frank Martin edging it, but I didn't have um I sort of had it close, but I still had Frank Martin, taking the win. I had him edging. But I didn't have it. I didn't know it was going to be such a dominating, extraordinary performance like it was last night. Yo, that was such a brutal physical display of boxing. Um, and it just goes to show, yo, the training regimen and the game plan that Derrick James set up for his fighters is phenomenal. Uh, it's like it's almost speechless because you really can't really find the right words to say because the way Derrick James has orchestrated Jamel, Errol Spence, and Frank Martin's careers, it's like they are all the same people in different weight divisions. If you kind of understand what I'm saying. Yo, what's good, Skywalker? Yo, we're in the spot. TWT. What's goody, my G? Skywalker boxing in the building. Buenos dias. Much love to you and your family, my G. But it just goes to show how crazy and um phenomenal of a trainer Derrick James is. And just like how he told us in the not press conference, but the little interview he had at the weigh-in, where he was only saying metaphorically, he trained his fighters as if they going in there to fight Jesus. And that's the mentality. That's honestly the mentality you have to have. When you have that mentality, you cannot be beaten. You cannot be broken. None of that shit applies. When you have that mentality and that mindset, you nothing can stop you. And it's genius the way Derrick James, uh, how he trained his fighters in that mode. But yo, if nobody gives Frank Martin his flowers right now, you a fucking coward and you a hater. Because it ain't no way nobody of any stature, of any caliber, should be downing and downplaying anything this brother has displayed since he's been at 135. This man is on a rampage. He's on a tear. And I don't see it getting no better. I don't see it getting nothing else but better and bigger for Frank Martin. Straight up. Uh, and it's just point blank, son. It's a new sheriff in town at 135. And it ain't Reggie Hammond. You know what I mean? It's Frank Martin. Frank Martin, he been here, but last night he put his stamp on the division and he said, I ain't going nowhere. He been here. His name been on the lease. He been living in the apartment, but he was undecided whether he wanted to stay there or if he wanted to leave. Last night he made it official. that he signed a new lease. His name is on the new lease, and he said, "Fuck it, damn it, I'm staying right here. If y'all cats want to come in, you got to pay me. If you want to move in, you got to pay me." Straight up. He said 135 is my house. That's why I'm staying right here. And he, man, the boxing display he put on last night, man, it's and on a fighter of Michael Rivera's caliber, that's I'm not shocked, but at the same time I'm shocked. Because yo, it was a unanimous decision. It was a clear wash. Rounds 1 through 12 with the knockdown. And even with the knockdown, I believe it was what, third round? Frank Martin's defense is so on point though. When he got the knockdown, when Frank Martin threw the left that wobbled Rivera and he fell, in the midst of Rivera getting hit, he was throwing a left hook. Frank Martin's defense is so on point. He hurried up and knocked him out with the left hand, and he dipped and weaved the left real quick as he was falling. Y'all was like, man, this kid is amazing, son. Like, and I can't wait to see him go up in competition and just see what all he got in his toolbox, yo. Keyshawn Davis is another one. He can get the smoke. Keyshawn Davis is out here talking like can't nobody touch him at 135. We're gonna see. But who I want to talk about right now is Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson tweeted last night that you know, he was saying he'll fight Frank Martin in a heartbeat. So if I was Errol Spence, if I was Frank Martin, I would, you know, I would call his bluff ASAP. I would send him a contract. Whatever he wanted in the contract, I would send it to him. I'll call his bluff and I will see what he about. Because just like Frank Martin himself said in the Brian Custer interview that he had after the weigh-in, 135 is too stacked. It's too stacked of a division for these young brothers not to be fighting each other and making no money. They all should be in the mix. And I just posted my top 5 135. I just posted my top 5 lightweights this morning on IG and YouTube. You can check it out. I put it into a little short. But I got Haney, Tank, Shakur, Frank Martin, and my homie Cheese. Ain't nobody trying to get that cheese smoke either. Frank Martin versus Cheese will be a dope. That'll be a dope matchup. I would love to see Frank Martin versus Raymond Maritala. That'll be a nasty matchup. And I would love to see that. But yeah, Skywalker, like it was a UD. It was unanimous. Like it was you right, and it was a couple rounds you can give to Rivera, but those you can tell with the rounds you gave to Rivera, Frank Martin, those was like fill out rounds. It's like he was trying. It's like he was trying new shit like every other round just to see if it'll work. Those the kind of rounds you can give to Rivera, and it's crazy, son. Like Michael Rivera was in Frank Martin's footsteps before last night because Michael Rivera was that top prospect people was talking about in 135 to be next to come out to do something big. And not to say he still can't, Michael Rivera still can. Like this was his first L. And yo, watch with the L he took last night. Watch how much of a beast Michael Rivera gonna be later on in his career. Wait, I feel sorry for his next opponent because his next opponent they gonna feel it, son. Because Michael Rivera, he gonna take the L he took last night. He gonna go back to the gym. He gonna work on everything he failed at, and he gonna come back even stronger, son. Watch his Michael Rivera's next fight. He gonna come back a fucking beast. And I feel like I say, I feel bad for his next opponent he fighting because they gonna feel it, son. It's yo, it's gonna be crazy. They gonna feel it. They gonna feel it real swiftly. But yo, um, going back to what I was saying earlier, I'm serious, yo. If I was Frank Martin and Errol Spence, if I was Frank Martin, I would have a sit down with Errol Spence. I would tell him, look, Shakur said he with it. He say he claimed he'll fight me in a heartbeat. You know what? Let's go ahead, send him a contract, give him a call, see what we can negotiate, and move on and move with that. If they get something shaken out of that, we gotta fight. If they don't, if they can't negotiate, if they can't come up with a conclusion and get a contract signed, or even get to the point where they can get to a contract, move on to the next best fighter. You got 135 is stacked. You got Edwin De Los Santos. You still got El Rayo. El Rayo was the first initial opponent before they went with Michelle Rivera, because Frank Martin said at the press conference El Rayo was going to be the opponent, but him and Spence had to sit down, and Spence wanted him to fight Michelle Rivera, being that he was tougher, he was undefeated. It was more of a challenge. And that's what I'm talking about, son. With Errol Spence being Frank Martin's promoter, Errol Spence is right now, Errol Spence is the one setting all this shit up. Errol Spence said, nah, El Rayo just lost to Santos. Let's X him out. Go ahead and throw Michelle Rivera in the mix. He's a better opponent. He's more technically sound. He has a better knockout streak. He has a better knockout percentage. And he's been in the mix for a while. So Errol said, go ahead and throw him in the mix. And so we got that, and now we got to see how he will perform against a fighter of that caliber. And now Frank Martin is ready for the top competition. I don't care what nobody say. He ready for the top competition at 135. And these brothers need to mix it up and stop pussyfooting around, man, and get it going. Because some of these fights are marquee pay-per-view fights. So not all of them, but most of these fights are pay-per-view fights. But I will say, Devin Haney and Frank Martin, Tank and Frank Martin, Shakur, Frank Martin, those are pay-per-view fights. Those are pay-per-view fights. I would pay for those in a fucking heartbeat. Set it up ASAP. Frank Martin, Errol Spence, if I was you two, I would sit down with each other, hash things out, talk it over. I'll send Shakur a little term sheet, contract, whatever. Get things going. Check his temperature. See what we can get out of that. Because a lot of these fights need to be made. All these fights need to be made, man. And yo, Skywalker, if I'm not mistaken, I think in an interview Errol Spence had last night, I think he was saying that I was about to say Errol James. Derek James got trainer of the year. And he was saying it was well deserved, which is very well deserved. Derek James deserves trainer of the year for the way he orchestrated his fighters, in and out the ring. They totally disciplined. For Jermell Charlo, for example, Jermell Charlo was a huge hothead. He was always in the media, talking shit, talking back, just a hothead going at anybody. Now Jermell done he changed his whole image. He cut his hair. He got that crazy blonde shit out his head. You know what I mean? He cut his hair to a presentable style. I think he like a model for like Balenciaga or some shit. That's that's greatness, son. That's discipline. It takes discipline to be able to look at yourself like that and do a total 180 and change. And that's the problem with people. People don't like to look at themselves in the mirror and change. They like to be the same dumb, stupid, non-profited motherfuckers who just sit around and do the same shit every day, and they wonder why they get the same result. Motherfucker's goofy. But yo, 135 is stacked. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Yo, it's bananas, son. We got so many fights that can be made, and a lot of these cats, they need to stop bullshitting and they need to get it on. They need to get it popping. It's too much. It's too stacked of a division for these cats and these brothers not to be doing nothing and coming at each other and getting these fights made. Get this money, man. Fight each other. Do what you got to do. Frank Martin, sit down with your boss, with your promotional boss, Errol Spence. Tell him, hey, let's get it. Let's go ahead and send Shakur Stevenson a contract. He asking for it. He claimed he wants the smoke. Let's give it to him. You know what I mean? Set it up. Let's get it. I want to see it. I'm sure a lot of other people want to see it. That'll be a phenomenal matchup, son. That's a pay-per-view. That's a pay-per-view matchup. I will pay for that in a heartbeat. And I'm sure Skywalker on this live, he'll pay for that shit too. But yeah, man, Calvin Ford is another one. Calvin Ford is another trainer who don't get the proper flowers and respect he deserves. With what he's doing with Tank and Truck Simpson. A lot of cats look at Truck Simpson and don't give Cal Ford the proper love and respect he deserves for what he doing with them two brothers, man. But I'm gonna tell you like this: before both of those brothers kick the bucket, everybody is gonna give both of them their proper respect and flowers before they get up out of here. And I'm gonna make sure of that. I'm gonna definitely make sure of that. Because if Derrick James is trainer of the year this year, I bet you my top dollar, Calvin Ford gonna be trainer of the year next year. I bet you. I bet you. It's gonna be Derrick James this year, Calvin Ford 2023. Let's get it. Because Calvin Ford, he already got Tank in a remarkable position. Tank, he out here trying to get fights made. And Tank versus Frank, that's another dope ass matchup. And that you can promote that. You can promote that to infinity. That just the matchup, the title matchup name alone, Tank versus Frank, you can monopolize off that and blow that shit up to infinity. Like that's a huge promotional fight that these cats can make. Tank versus Frank. Frank already saying he wants to smoke. He already saying he with it. He already sparred Javante before anyway, so he already sort of know what he got. Not 100%, but he's been in there with him, so he know to a certain extent how much power he got. Reach, somewhat of his defense. He don't have the full effect, but he got a good he got a good feel and taste of what Tank got, and that's dope as shit too. So they can make that like these. Frank Martin has a lot of options. He has tons of options. You can even throw Rolly in the mix. Rolly can get the smoke as well. Rolly, he gave Frank his props last night. And shout out to Rolly, I know a lot of people give Rolly a hard time, but Rolly is cool, man. Like Rolly, he do say a lot of sideways, off the wall shit, but you got to commend Rolly because Rolly is 100% himself, and he keeping it 100 because you can just tell with his delivery when he's speaking about certain topics and certain boxes. It's no bias and no hate towards nobody. And he gave Frank Martin his complete flowers. He told him he was a good fighter. He did good. But he didn't really allude to if he would fight him or not. And I think Rolly know he saw something last night. He know he will have a problem with Frank Martin. And he would have a much problem with Frank Martin than he did so with Tank Davis. And I say that because Tank did not fight Rolly the way Tank normally fight. Tank fought Rolly as if Tank fought Rolly with caution. He fought him. That's why Tank had the high guard mostly because Rolly, he's a headhunter. And Rolly don't pay attention and he don't understand that a lot of cats, a lot of people are starting to catch on to his boxing game, to his technique. Rolly is a huge headhunter. And all throughout the press conferences, throughout the buildup of the fight with him and Tank, it's all he was saying was, I'm knocking him out first round. I'm knocking him out. I'm knocking Tank out. I'm knocking Tank out this round, that round. He was always crying, talking about a knockout. So from round one all the way up until when Tank got the knockout from Rolly, he had the high guard the entire time because Rolly is a huge headhunter. And Rolly, shout out to Coach Bullet too. Coach Bullet, he's a decent trainer. But Rolly need to stop giving away his game plan too fucking early. Rolly talks too much. And that's what Bullet need to coach Rolly about is he needs to discipline him with his mouth because Rolly, he gives people his game plan too much and it gives his opponent an idea on what he's working on with them and it gives his opponent time to monopolize on what Rolly talking about. So Rolly need to keep his mouth shut and stop giving away his game plan without literally giving away his game plan because he's talking about what he's going to do. And then he's talking about what he's going to do, but then he's doing it and he's showing them exactly in the ring. And like, but yeah, Rolly and Frank Martin is still a dope ass matchup. I would love to see that. Um, like I said, yo, the ball is in Frank's court. People, 135. Like I said, yo, it's a new sheriff in town. It's a new sheriff in town at 135, and Frank Martin ain't going nowhere. And last night he showed it. And I just can't wait till they start making these marquee fights, these huge fights that that we need to see. Uh, Also, what I wanted to talk about, if you also notice, like from this past summer, uh, I'll say like mid-June all the way up to now, ever since the U.S. government announced the $5 million bounty on Daniel Kinahan's head to crack down on him and his family. Ever since that bounty, there's been a lot of corruption being uplifted in the sport of boxing, and it's been a lot of good, dope marquee fights being made. And I highly believe it was because of the corruption in boxing that a lot of these marquee fights that's being made now, they was being shunned and put under the rug because of cats like Daniel Kinahan. And trust me, Daniel Kinahan is not the only one that, that was corrupt in boxing. It was a lot of other promoters that was corrupt in boxing. Like the WBC. The WBC is highly, highly questionable. The WBC still needs to be investigated, if you ask me. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. They need to be highly investigated still because it's still a lot of funny business going on with the WBC and that sanctioning body. But the WBC, that was like the main one that was the most suspect. For the most part, the WBO, the WBA, and the IBF, they seem okay. The IBF seemed the most well-rounded when it comes to sanctioning bodies. The IBF is the one they try to make. The IBF is the sanctioning body to me that try to make the most fights, the most meaningful fights as they can. But yeah, It's ever since they announced the crackdown on Kinahan, it's been a lot of corruption being uplifted in the sport of boxing, and it's been a lot of marquee fights being made. Uh, so with that being said, man, um, I would love to see Frank Martin and Errol Spence have a sit down. You know, I would highly go over things. I'll send Shakur Stevenson a term sheet or a little contract. You know what I mean, to hash things out. Shakur Stevenson said he'll fight Frank Martin in a heartbeat. Let's find it out. Let's see it. 135 is too stacked of a division for these cats not to be fighting each other. I'm gonna keep saying that until I end this live. 135 is too stacked of a division for these cats not to be fighting. You know what I mean? Uh, According to Bob Arum, we got Devin Haney and Lomachenko on the rise. They said they almost at an agreement. We got that popping off. If we can't get that, um, if no, if Devin Haney and Lomachenko is 100%, then that gives Frank Martin a better reason to oblige Shakur Stevenson and send him a contract and go ahead and get shit popping, yo. So, with that being said, let me see. We got Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis is in the mix. He talking slick. Um, but if I was Kid Austin, I would send Keyshawn Davis a contract. Or if I was Keyshawn, I would send Kid Austin a contract because Kid Austin has been talking very heavily about Keyshawn Davis, you know, saying he's a nobody pretty much at 135. He'll wash him. Uh, you know, saying all kind of shit like he can't scrap, he can't fight. You know, I would love to see that. So that's another dope marquee fight they can set up at 135. Is Kid Austin and Keyshawn Davis. You know, get these young prospects in the mix. Fuck these O's. You know what I mean? These O's got to go anyway. So put these cats in the mix. Let's go ahead and get it going. You know what I mean? It ain't no reason for these cats not to be setting these type of fights up. You know what I mean? So they need to go ahead and get it popping. Let me see what else we got going. What else? Eric Muzzy, yo, what's going on? Salute. Skywalker still in the building. What up, my G? I'm still up here at the gig. It's slow as shit, so I'm doing it live. These goofy ass white boys over here. But yo, Frank Martin is the goods, man. Frank Martin is the total goods. He's not no great value. He's the goods. You know what I mean? He's the Whole Foods. Frank Martin is the Whole Foods. He's no great value. You know what I mean? Pure, unadulterated talent. Straight up. Discipline in and outside the ring. You know what I mean? With a phenomenal trainer, a phenomenal promotional company ran by another phenomenal boxer, Mr. Errol Spence. Yo, Frank Martin can't lose, man. Frank Martin can't lose. You know what I mean? The ball is totally in his corner. It's in his court. And he can't lose. You know what I mean? This is last night was a phenomenal display of boxing that I've seen from Frank Martin since he's been pro. And it seems like the step up the competition, the better and more of a chance we get to see these cats perform. And that's what I'm saying. It's like these cats, they act like they scared to perform. They act like bitches and they act like they don't want to lose a O. Everybody want to go the Floyd route, you know what I mean? And you know, they want to make all this money early. But what a lot of cats don't understand is Floyd was in the trenches. Floyd was in the trenches and then in the beginning of his career. He fought everybody that had a name. He fought all the champions early on in his career. He didn't go undisputed though. He didn't chase undisputed, But the fights that they said he should have made, he made them, and he made them with no problem. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like a lot of these cats need to stop uh having they need to stop being unconfident and believe in themselves and their skill and get these fights made, man. Get each other paid. They don't understand that with the type of names that they have, if they make these marquee fights with each other, it just further, you know, makes the pot that much bigger because their names are so huge. You know, in their own way, in their own city, their own towns, their names is huge. You know what I mean? So they need to stop bullshitting, stop pussyfooting around, and you know what I mean, get it going. Yes, Frank Martin is the goods. Frank Martin is definitely the goods. Like I say, he's the Whole Foods. No great value. He's the total goods. As my man BFTB would say. He's the goods. But yeah, Frank Martin is definitely the goods, man. And it, like I said, it only gets better from here. It only gets better from here. You know what I mean? So we're gonna find out what Frank Martin next move is. We got man, tons. We got tons of boxes, you know what I mean, on the chopping block. Who can get it? Keyshawn Davis, you know what I mean? Edwin De Los Santos. Yo, there's a lot of cats out there. Devin Haney. He mentioned Devin Haney name. Frank in the Brian Custer interview that he had recently after the weigh-in, um, you know, he said his next 3 fights, if he could have it his way, would be he said Haney, Tank. He said somebody before Haney. I forget who he said before Haney, but he said Haney and Tank was his last 2. But I would love to see him. I would love to see him throw Shakur in the mix. I don't think he said Shakur, but I would love to see him throw Shakur in the mix and get it popping with Shakur, man. That'd be a phenomenal matchup, man. They need to get it going. Let's get it popping. Just like Tank Davis said, it's time. And me personally, honestly, I feel like Devin Haney should not try to pursue Lomachenko. Devin Haney gains totally nothing from fighting Lomachenko. Lomachenko, in my eyes, is washed up. And if I can recall, Devin Haney, you said yourself, you wouldn't approach a washed up fighter who looked like he's losing it. Lomachenko is definitely losing it, and Lomachenko is definitely at his weakest point right now. So if I was Devin Haney, I would try to pursue better opposition. Shakur was on live with you and your pops. He was on live with you and Bill. That should have been your time right there to go ahead and oblige Shakur Stevenson and accept that scrap. Go ahead and accept the scrap, man. Like, it ain't no time to waste. You know what I mean? Y'all need to go ahead and get it going and get in the mix, man. Straight up. There's no more time to be wasted when it comes to that aspect. Shakur Stevenson said he will go to the meeting with y'all to set it up. So what's the deal? Like, you know what I mean? Get it going. Let's get it popping. Shakur Stevenson pretty much called Bill and Devin Haney's bluff. He told Bill and Dev. He said, I'll go to the sit down with y'all. He said, I'll go with y'all. Let's go. Let's get it. Nothing. But you see, they was talking all that. They was campaigning, but when it came down for the election, it was a no-show. Who I got winning between Michelle Rivera and Keyshawn Davis? I got Keyshawn because if you pay attention, um, yeah, I mentioned De Los Santos earlier. um, if you pay attention, the way Keyshawn Davis fought um, the cat he fought last week, it's sort of similar. I wouldn't say all the way similar, but it's Michelle Rivera would get the same beating that Keyshawn Davis gave the Mexican cat last week. That's my opinion. From what I seen last night from Michelle Rivera. I don't think Michelle Rivera is, ready for the top comp. But I also said earlier too that Michelle Rivera's next fight, I feel sorry for his opponent because he gonna unleash. But I got Keyshawn Davis edging the Michelle Rivera fight. De Los Santos, De Los Santos and Keyshawn Davis, that'd be nice. That's a huge 50-50. I don't know. Um, I really couldn't call that one. Uh, I would say I would sort of lean towards De Los Santos, but that's one of those I would have to see. I would have to see that, myself firsthand. But yo, uh, man, it's 135 is stacked, son. And like I said, it's too much of a division for these cats not to be fighting. And mixing it up and getting it going. These weird gay ass white boys over here doing weird shit while I'm doing this video. But yeah, yo, it's fucking stacked. It's fucking stacked. 135 is fucking stacked. And like I was saying, on my way to the gig, I was saying how uh the female boxers, are totally outshining the male boxers because with the female boxers, they are the only ones who are willing to get in the mix and mix it up with each other, regardless of what the pay is. They not giving a fuck about where it's at. They just ready to get it in. And they are totally making the mailboxes look like straight bitches because a lot of these mailboxes are acting like straight fucking divas when it comes to these contracts. It's like they don't want to get their ass whooped, so they want a whole bunch of money. You know what I mean? It's like they want a huge payday for a good ass whoop. And it's like, fuck that, son. These females are getting their ass whooped, if not worse, and getting paid less. Because I overheard Alicia Baumgartner in one of her interviews. They her and Hyun Mi Choi, they are in negotiations right now for undisputed matchup in the UK. You know what I mean? I can't fucking wait. Let's fucking get it. And that's what I'm talking about, son. When it come to these females are totally outshining the males. Cause these males, it's acting like straight faggots. Like they fucking divas when it comes to these matchups. They want a huge payday when they know they're not worth what they asking for. Bud Crawford. They want all these stipulations and back end money and a bigger percentage than the person with more belts than them. And they want a bigger percentage than boxers who got bigger names than them. And like it takes time, man. It takes time. You can't just come into the shit wanting the big paydays. It takes time. Even with Floyd. Floyd was in the trenches, like I said earlier. He got his shit from the mud. His blueprint, Floyd's blueprint, is what got him, the 9-10 figure digit fights. Floyd had a blueprint. A lot of you boxers out here, y'all have no blueprint. You barely have a vision, and you want all the money. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan in life, period. You can't just go into shit thinking you can just get something out of it and you're gonna have a lion's share. No, fuck no. You have to get a plan orchestrated and you have to execute that plan on all cylinders. The same way you mapped it out is the same way you gotta execute. You can't leave out no detail. And that's what these cats fail to do. They fail to realize. They fail to realize, you know, you have to have a plan orchestrated in order to get somewhere, anywhere in life. If you have a goal, you have to have a plan. A lot of these cats don't have a plan. You know what I mean? Fuck yeah, they ducking Ennis. Ennis is fighting a fucking Karen. Literally a Karen. This nigga name is Karen Chubopsky. Karen Knuckle Curve. This nigga is literally fighting a Karen. And I blame that on Bud. I blame it on Virgil. Because to be honest, Boots at this moment have nothing to offer Errol but a good dope ass pay-per-view fight. Errol will not take that fight because it's not a championship fight. He has nothing to gain from it. So Errol would not take that. What Errol would do is he would rather wait until now. This is what I'm hoping will happen. Hear me out. Check this out. Hear me out. What I'm hoping will happen is Bud stall out the WBO because Jerron Boots Ennis is going to be the number one mandatory for the WBO. I would say by the time Jerron Boots Ennis fights again in January, that puts Boots Ennis number one for the WBO. By the time April come around, by the time March or April come around, the WBO should force Bud to fight Boots Ennis, his number one mandatory, or get stripped. And so, if Bud gets stripped of the WBO, that leaves Boots the number one mandatory, and Errol would have to fight Boots for the WBO. So we all get what we want. That's how I'm hoping it'll play out. Bud is going to duck Boots because he's going to be his number one mandatory. Bud gets stripped and he moves to 154, and Errol and Boots fight for the WBO at 47, and then we'll see who become undisputed. Errol and Boots fight for undisputed at 47. Bud bitch ass and move up to 154 and get washed. Because I would love to see Bud versus Tony Harrison at 54 for his first fight. Fuck that. I would love to see Bud versus Danny Garcia for his first fight at 54. Why not? Set it up. Set that shit up. And to be honest, Modern King Boxing, I don't think Bud really wants that smoke with Jamel. I'll be shocked if Bud actually took the fight with Jamel. But me personally, I don't think he want that smoke. Bud clout chasing. And Bud been clout chasing off Errol Spence's name since 2018, since he came to welterweight when he had that trash ass fight with Jeff Cornball. Jeff Horny, man. Bud is all smoke and mirrors, just like EJ said. He all bullshit, man. Bud do not want no smoke. Bud is CBD. That's what we call Bud over here at TWT. He's CBD. He artificial smoke. That nigga is hookah. Bud is hookah. He not that Zaza. He hookah. Errol Spence want all the smoke. Errol Spence is hookah, Zaza, exotic, sativa, gelato, cigarettes, tobacco. He all the smoke. Bud is CBD. Monte King boxing. Bud fought a fucking tomato can. Bud fought somebody who just cooked my food last night at Miami Grill. That nigga looked just like Ebenezer. David Advil pill. Bud fought a fucking nobody. And then on top of that, Bud has a lawsuit up his ass because David Advil pill sent them alphabet boys to go holler at Bud and the Omaha State Commission. So a lot of you Bud sexuals better tread softly because it's a possibility that Bud could be under the radar. And it's an even better possibility that Bud could have still been fucking with your man Killerhan. That's what I'm saying, son. Like, take your fucking feelings out of boxing. Take your fucking feelings out of it. You can't put your feelings in it. I don't have no personal feelings or no personal hateful demise towards none of these cats. And that's the problem with the LDBC and TWT and y'all other cats, because y'all are too fucking personal. Like, y'all know these motherfuckers. These boxers wouldn't give a squirt of piss for your ass right now if you was on fire. These boxers don't give a fuck about none of y'all. It's just funny. Like, whenever you start mentioning Bud, here the bitches, like, the bitches come out when you mention Bud. Just like how when you at the strip club and cats with all the money throwing out bands attract all the bitches, when you speak Bud, it bring the bitch out you niggas. Because it shows exactly what we be proving every time we mention Bud's name. Have you seen the pound for pound list recently? Monte King Boxing. They got Bud #2. They put Jet Li in front of Bud. They got Jet Li in front of Bud on pound for pound. So what the fuck are you talking about? Bud is not #1 pound for pound no more in these crackers' eyes. These crackers are not feeling Bud anymore. So hang it up, Sonny Jim. Bud was never pound for pound anyway. And on the pound for pound list is a bullshit list to begin with. The pound for pound list ain't shit. It's just a made up list of motherfuckers who got their favorite fighters, and it's a fantasy list on who they feel is #1 in their eyes. The pound for pound list ain't shit. That's why Errol Spence said you could take me off the pound for pound list, put Jamel on there when he beat Castano, because it ain't shit. It's a man-made, fan-made list. It's an imaginary list. It's a fantasy list. It's a fantasy list. Who is Keith Leftovers? Who is Keith Leftovers? I hope you're not talking about Sean Porter, because if we talking about leftovers, didn't Bud fight Sean Porter an entire year and a half later? And didn't Sean Porter say on his own podcast after he fought Errol Spence that that was the first time he ever considered retirement? But this how goofy y'all motherfuckers are. It's funny though, cause y'all help give us publicity. Y'all help blow us up. So I wouldn't give a fuck if 100 more of you motherfuckers came in here. Crawford is pound for pound best American boxer, but he just fought number 6 at 147 with suspect gloves. Get the fuck out of here. But I'll let you cats keep thinking he's pound for pound. Like I just said, pound for pound ain't shit. Pound for pound is nothing. Bud kept the WBO belt for 4 years without fighting no top competition. You tell me about that. He had Bob Arum even put him on blast, and he said he had multiple opportunities. Multiple. That means more than one opportunities to fight your Dennis Ugas, Danny Garcia, and your man Spence. So what are we talking about? Not to mention, Bud said he agreed to everything in the Errol Spence contract, but nigga, you fight number 6 in your division. Bud is a bitch, and he's scared. And with that move that he did with Errol Spence fighting Avanesian David Adville, it proves that he ducked Errol Spence clearly. He's a fucking clear duck. He Daffy Duck. And all y'all goofy niggas that run around following this nigga, y'all his ducklets. The dickless ducklets. Y'all the dickless ducklets. Because y'all gotta have pussies if y'all can't come to the realization of what's going on with Bud. Bud don't give a fuck about y'all. Bud even said his best fans are from the UK. And you might be from the UK. It's a possibility you might be from the UK. But when have we ever known Bob to be a lie though? Bob don't lie about shit. What do Bob got to lie about? But that's what I'm talking about. Y'all cats is goofy to the max. Goofy to the max. Hold on, I gotta go make a real stop real quick. I'll be right back. Skywalker, hold me down. Yeah, we back. We back in this bitch. Yeah. Let me get situated. Let me get back situated. Yeah. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Uh, yo, 135 is stacked, man. Like, and I was just looking at BoxRec not too long ago, like this morning. Um, I forgot all about Cheese. I can't believe I forgot all about Raymond Maritala. Cheese is Cheese is nasty, my friend, and I would love to see Cheese get in the mix with these top cats at 135. Also, I would love to see Cheese versus Edwin De Los Santos. Yeah, I mean, let's get the Hispanic brothers in the mix. You know what I mean? Put them in some hot water. Let's get the Hispanic brothers, put them in the mix. You know what I mean? Woo, sorry. I'm up here driving, yo. Trying to do this live. Shouts out to my homie G5. Hurry your goofy ass up. But yeah, man. Monte King Boxing, you still in here talking that bullshit? Hold up, sold out crowd. Are you still on Bud? Are you still on Budrick? You still talking about Buddy? Hold on, I gotta make one more stop. Once I make this last stop, I'm coming back. I'm getting in that ass. Cause you still talking about Buddy. I'm done talking about Buddy. Budrick Buddy. Buddy Love. But hold on one sec, I'll be right back, y'all. Skywalker, hold me down, player. We back. We back. Yeah, Skywalker. Yo, Cheese. I would love to see Cheese get in the mix. Cheese is nasty. 15-0, 13 KOs. I wouldn't put it past Errol Spence and Frank going at him. Like I said, yo, Team Spence, Frank Martin, yo, they want all the smoke. I can't say that for Bud. I can't say that for Team Crawfish. I can't say that for Crawfish. Them square ass niggas over at Team Crawfish. But see, the only reason why I talk to them like that is because Team Crawford is so highly disrespectful and unprofessional, man. It's not even funny. So that's why I go with them and talk to them the way I do, because they talk to everybody else reckless. So whenever you do that, you get the same treatment. Straight up. And I'm sick of these bud sexuals getting in their pussy feelings every time you bring his bullshit up. We gonna keep bringing that bullshit up, and we not gonna let our foot off this nigga neck until he show us something. And we don't think he ever gonna show us something, so we're gonna forever keep our foot on this nigga neck. Because it don't make no fucking sense how much of a duck this nigga is, and y'all niggas just let that shit fly right over y'all goofy ass heads. Yo, so y'all niggas goofy, yo. This nigga have his first fight in Omaha since his debut fight in being a pro boxer. This nigga come back to his hometown 30 years later and have a fucking bust ass performance with a bust ass crowd. With bust ass fans and bust ass pay-per-view buys. He had a sellout crowd. I bet the nigga did have a sellout crowd, nigga. If you at home and y'all niggas stupid, yo. Nigga, who wouldn't have a sellout crowd if you in your hometown and you in the fucking arena that only sit 200 niggas? But yo, shout out to my homie Blue Blood. Blue Blood out here doing his thing. He living. He getting his money. You know what I mean? And it don't make me no more happier than seeing my homie Blue Blood laughing and smiling and still doing lives where he don't even have to do no fucking lives and fuck with you ugly niggas, but he do it anyway. Giving y'all predictions on what he think gonna happen in fights, shit that he been doing. Blue don't have to do that shit no more. But he do it anyway off the love. Because that's a genuine Negro. And y'all weak ass niggas wouldn't understand nothing like that. Because y'all niggas ain't genuine. And for you to fuck with a nigga like Bud, as heavy as y'all do, you know you ain't genuine. Because Team Crawford is not genuine. All they do is contradict and lie. That's all the fuck they do. They lie and contradict all day. And I wasn't even talking about Bud, but now we got to talk about it. All Team Crawford do is lie and contradict all day. Every member of their team, they got the same MO. That you can slowly see Keyshawn Davis
hashing out that same blueprint. You can see it in them. You can slowly see Keyshawn Davis reaching out with that bullshit. Team Crawford, man, I just can't understand how anybody can rock with that shit. I don't understand how y'all can rock with that shit and call it 100. I can't do that. I can't call it 100. Look at this fucking idiot. This bitch driving like a Bud fan. I don't understand. I don't understand how some of y'all get up out the bed in the morning. And I bet a lot of you Bud fans, I bet a lot of y'all have a problem getting out the bed. I bet you dumb motherfuckers don't know what side of the bed you want to get off on. You can't walk and chew gum at the same time, ass. Y'all niggas is goofy. Goof-Y. Goosh-E. Bud had all the time in the world to sign a contract to fight EJ. This nigga clean ducked. This nigga roast ducked. He fucking roast ducked. That nigga Bud is cooked, yo. Bud is cooked at 147. They got that nigga number. That nigga Bud is cooked. And the WBO is gonna strip that nigga. That nigga Bud is clean cooked. Y'all niggas cooked with him. That nigga's a duck. Y'all goofy niggas sitting up here still parading around this nigga, giving him his flowers when he fucking ducked. The man who he claimed he been waiting for 4 fucking years, he ducked. And Monte King boxing, your dumb ass still up in here. I'm gonna stay blessed. I'm always blessed. But you gotta call a spade, my man. You gotta call a spade, a spade. You gotta call a spade, a spade. You gotta call Bud a duck. That's what the fuck he is, a duck. But anyway, 135 is fucking lit. 147 used to be my favorite division, but now it's 135. It's slowly been becoming 135 for the past year or so. I've been slowly getting into the mix of 135. 135 slowly been becoming my favorite division, and now it's officially my favorite division since last night. Because we got a new monster in town, brothers and sisters. His name is Frank, the Ghost, the Poltergeist Martin. The Poltergeist. I call that nigga the Poltergeist. Because he come out the TV on your ass in HD. He coming out the TV on HD on your ass. Frank the Poltergeist. Straight up. Word up. Well, yo, 135 is next, son. Like I said, cheese. I want to see cheese, and I would I would love to see Cheese and El Rayo. El Rayo still got some fuel under the fire. It's not over for him. It's not over for him. I would love to see Cheese and De Los Santos. I would love to see De Los Santos versus any of the top cats at 135, to be honest. Any of the top competition at 135, I would love to see De Los Santos fight. And Cheese. But Frank Martin, man. Frank Martin is the new head. I won't say the head. He's not the new head of 135 yet. But he's the Frank Martin. Frank Martin is definitely the new face and the new problem at 135. And it's only going to get better for Frank Martin. And it's only going to get worse for his opponent, son, because that kid is coming. And he coming with the axe to chop these cats' head clean off with no remorse. He not letting up at all. Errol Spence, Derek James, they not letting the gas up. They not letting off the accelerator. They going full speed. They coming at these cats. You know what I mean? Straightforward. And they ain't stopping. They going in. Ain't no stopping. Frank Martin said his top 3 fights at 135 is he said Devin Haney, he said Tank Davis for his last fight, and I forgot who he said for his first fight. But I wouldn't mind it being Keyshawn Davis, because if you saw the press conference, I believe Thursday, it was when he was on Brian Custer. He was on the last stand with Brian Custer at the hotel after the weigh-in. He said he didn't want to speak much about it, but he said whenever Errol Spence and Crawford announced their fight, he said him and Keyshawn Davis will co-main. He said best believe him and Keyshawn Davis will be the co-main event to him and Bud's main event whenever they announce. And I've been saying that ever since Frank Martin came into the mix. I've told a couple cats that I would love Frank Martin and Keyshawn Davis to co-main Bud and Errol Spence's main event. Gotta be nasty. And you know they will, so set it up. Set that shit up. They need to go ahead and announce Bud and Errol Spence's undisputed match, and you can have Keyshawn Davis and Frank Martin be the co-main. Let's get it. Let's fucking get it. But yo, that's all I got for now. I'm still driving. I'm on the road. I'm dealing with these non-driving St. Louis motherfuckers, man. And they pissing me off. Excuse my language, but they pissing me the hell off. So I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. You cats be smooth. Play it safe. We're going to definitely be back. I'm going to be back later. We're going to go live again. And we're going to get it in, son. We're going to get it popping. TWT, the winning team, till we transition. We in the building. Never slacking off. Always giving you that fire content. All day, every day. Straight up. LDBC, Lions Den Boxing Community. We in the building. We never taking our foot off y'all cowards' necks. We going in full circle. Straight up. Shout out to Skywalker. Shout out to everybody from TWT who showed up, who was in the building. Shout out to Monte King Boxing, your goofy ass. And all you Bud sexuals, we coming down on y'all. All y'all. So get ready. Get prepared. Because it's only going to get worse for you 2 for $1 chocolate chip cookie eating motherfuckers. Straight up. TWT, the winning team. We in the building. Judah Ben, Israel, signing off.